Okay, y'all, I'm back. I had to take a little bit of a break, but I am back. So in this segment, I'm going to be covering what the effects will be for each sign. So I'm going to start out with the first 4 signs of the zodiac, which is Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. And this is for the rising sign. So again, make sure that you guys understand it's for the rising sign, not for your sun sign. You can take into account your moon sign and your sun sign, but I would definitely say that in the order of the rising sign, then your moon sign, and then your sun sign, okay? So it can apply, but just keep that in mind. So let's start with the Aries rising, okay? So Aries risings will have a new moon in their 5th house, okay? 5th house is ruled by Leo, so it's pretty cool that it would be in that house. What that's basically going to do is bring some new experiences of romance, all right? Now, this is not necessarily meaning romance in a way where it's going to turn into something that's going to be a constant thing between you and that person or turn into a relationship, but this is definitely romance dates, okay? This is casual relationships, casual sex. So you might have some fun, okay? For those Aries ascendants that are looking for fun, you might have some, okay? There might be some good areas of creative juices flowing in this department right now because the 5th house has to do with creativity. So therefore, there might be some new beginnings with that. You might get some creative juices flowing and create some projects. Or let's say that you are a performer. This might be a good time for you to really be able to hone into your emotions and write things down. And this also could gear towards children because 5th house is children. So this could be a couple of things. This could be you contacting your inner child, or this could also be you spending time with the children that you already have, or this could be birthing a new child, okay? So this could be somebody that is about to have a baby, or they're about to welcome a child into their world in some way as a father, or, you know, obviously a mom. All right, so that's for Aries. It also brings new festivities as well, things to party about, celebration, okay? So this is the time to be social when it comes to the Aries ascendant, all right? So the next one would be Taurus. Taurus is within the 4th house. 4th house stands for home. It is traditionally ruled by Cancer, okay? So this has to do with tapping into the home. So this might be some new improvements of the home. You might actually purchase a new home, okay? So you might move, all right? Moving would definitely, I would say, if it's within the neighborhood, it would more so be 3rd house, or within long distance, it would be more so 9th house, but you could definitely still have a move in the situation because it has to do with the home. This also has to do with decluttering of the mind, decluttering of the home, decluttering of friendships in some ways. When you think of the people that you're giving the energies to, they can be friends, they can be family. So maybe you might be, you know, decluttering a bit, cutting some ties there because you want to make sure that you're nice and healthy and that your energy is being put in the right places. All right. It also has to do with your emotional stability, okay? So this is a time that Taurus ascendants will go ahead and utilize this moment to gather their thoughts, utilize this moment to figure things out, see what they actually need, what they don't need, what things that they thought they might have needed on an emotional level they might not necessarily need anymore. So this is a time period that you're really going to tap into your intuition. You're really going to channel all of that energy towards empowering it, okay? So you're going to be very intuitive during this time. Also, 4th house stands for mother's lineage or motherhood. So you might also birth a baby in this particular situation, or you might get closer with your mom, spend time with your mom, or maybe reconnect with your mother if you guys are not speaking for some reason, or also you might be adopted and you actually reconnect with the mother, or you might follow the family line there, like maybe get one of those apps that they have, or the family tree programs that they have, and uncover the roots, because 4th house is about roots. So maybe you'll really figure out what nationality you might be. I know they have all these cool things going on where you can like hand in a piece of your hair or like blood testing or something and get those done so you can figure out where your roots stem from, okay? This is all 4th house, so that's Taurus. Okay, oh yeah, and one more thing I want to mention under Taurus as well, vulnerability. Vulnerability is a major thing. Understand that there is nothing wrong with being vulnerable. It is not a bad thing. It is a beautiful thing to be able to be vulnerable. Saw a video today by Jada Pickin that was awesome, and she said that if you want to love, you have to prepare for devastation, because ultimately, even though love is a beautiful thing, you're going to go through ups and downs with the people that you love, and you're going to have to stand by them through them if they're good people and if you care about them. And you could have the best relationship in the world, but ultimately at the end of the day, even when the two bodies separate on the physical plane, it still presents some devastation, okay? So like, understand that. A vulnerability is not there to harm you. It is there for you to experience all the feels, and the feels are scary, I understand, but if you've never actually felt them and you don't understand what they feel like, are you really living? Are you really being able to experience something to its full potential? Okay, so that would be Taurus. Next we have Gemini. So Gemini is in the ascendant of Gemini is in its home of the 3rd house, okay? So there's new beginnings in communication. New beginnings in hobbies, new beginning, especially if it's a hobby that has to do with the hands, okay? Because Gemini is the hands. So this could be a hobby with writing, with drawing, all right, painting, any of those areas with the hands, okay? This could also be a news report, okay? Maybe you work in the news and you have some new footage or a new major news story to cover. Okay, so that's something there. It's also allowing you to be quicker and to multitask, because that Gemini energy is very quick, very fast. So especially if you have your ascendant in Gemini and now you're having a new moon in your 3rd house, you're going to be quick. You're going to be really quick in getting things done. You're going to be able to conquer so many things, so many tasks all at once. And it's really going to bring you a lot of new avenues really to go down, you know, and a lot of opportunities. It could be some beginnings in your neighborhood. So again, I was saying that you could move in the 4th house with Taurus. It could be the same thing as far as the 3rd house. Maybe you start to discover your neighborhood a little bit more. So it could be that you start traveling around your neighborhood. I can't tell you how funny it is, because like, I don't know if anyone has ever had this want before. But I remember when I was younger, I used to say to myself, if I could just like fill my tank of gas and then just go down all the roads that I've never went down in my neighborhood to see what's there. Because I mean, I grew up in a pretty big township in New Jersey, and like there were some areas that I haven't been to in my township, believe it or not. And like, that's crazy because I've lived there so many years, but there's some areas that roads I've never been down, or places I've never been. So I really thought that would be cool. This might be a new opportunity that maybe you can experience that. You know, I live in Philadelphia, so if I was a Gemini ascendant, this would be pretty cool for me to go around and explore my neighborhood, all right? Because there's a lot of things in Philly. So that's for that. You could be starting some new hobbies. I know I mentioned before it could have to do with the hands, but this could also just mean in general, because new hobbies are like, that's awesome. You have things to do. Sorry, my dog's shaking. You have things to do during the day that besides just go to work, right? Or besides just come home and just watch TV, the same old hobbies. You start new hobbies with this one, all right? There's some short distance trips as well that could be possible. So maybe you take a nice little short distance exploration between you and some friends, or even between you and siblings, because 3rd house has to do with siblings as well. So the 3rd house could bring some new beginnings for your siblings, some reconnection towards you and a sibling that maybe have had some disconnection in the past, or bring even some new experiences for the two of you. So like I said, maybe you guys decide to take a short distance trip. You know, it could be to the beach for a day or a couple of days or whatever. Now again, this is a 6-month eclipse, But it doesn't matter that it may not be an event that lasts 6 months, but it's the fact of that event is a big enough event to change something in your path, okay? So like I said, it could be a small trip to the beach with a sibling that you haven't spoken to in forever, and that's going to change the path between the two of you or create some forgiveness or new beginnings and new experiences for your relationship, okay? Also, like I said, there can be involvement with the neighborhood. So not just going within the neighborhood and checking all the places that you haven't been at, but there's some involvement with the neighborhood as well. So maybe you might get proactive about that. You know, maybe you might, maybe there's some issues where they're trying to shut things down in your neighborhood, and you're being proactive enough to say no, and you fight for your neighborhood. So that's also something as well. Okay, so that would be Gemini in the 3rd house. All right, and now we have Cancer in the 2nd house. So the 2nd house is traditionally ruled by Taurus, and what this really has to do is embracing the senses so that you can really understand value. All right, so let's talk about that. With value, that's also self-worth, self-esteem. So with someone with a Cancer ascendant might have or most likely will have some new experiences in understanding their self-worth and their value. They might engage into activities that have to do with that. This can also signify food intake, okay, because Taurus rules food intake in the 2nd house as well. So food intake might mean that you're eating a little bit healthier, or that you might even experience some really pleasurable foods or movies, okay, or some kind of art, you know, because Taurus is governed by Venus. So some kind of art that sparks your passion and your senses and your creative juices, okay? So this is all 2nd house. It might spark something in you to realize your self-worth. Maybe you watch a movie that really hits home for you, or you have an experience of a cooking class that changes your way of thinking of how to season or something like that, okay? That could all go underneath that too. This could also stand for your job as well, because 2nd house has to do with family assets and values. So maybe you might have a different experience at work that brings in more money. So something that sparks that, or you might even switch up to a different project that might develop some more some income for you guys. Or maybe you start a part-time job that might develop some more or bring in some more income for you. Okay, so that could be as well. It's definitely going to get you more grounded. And I say this because Taurus really has to do with, I like to call Taurus the kitchen witch. Or I'm sorry, not the kitchen witch. I would call Taurus the green witch, okay? Because Taurus really talks about the senses and connecting with the earth, right? So the plants and being grounded, okay? Because especially as an earth sign, it loves to be grounded. It loves stability. Okay, so this might be some new beginnings in stability for you, or might bring some groundedness into your life. Maybe you start doing like yoga or getting into some practices that might bring some balance into your life. Or this could also just be a really good time of pleasurable experiences, because again, Taurus has to do with the pleasure behind all of the senses, right? Stimulating the senses by experimenting with things that are in the physical world and sparking your senses, heightening your stimulation, okay? So this really has to do with that as well. Also be careful of impulse spending and financial issues, because with that, that's a major thing. Since 2nd house has to do with the values, you want to watch how you're spending your money, because pleasure, like if I can give you guys a little bit of knowledge on Lilith in Taurus. Anyone who has Lilith in Taurus has an issue with overspending, over pleasure, not thinking about how it affects someone else, because they're just so sucked into the ideas of pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. I want to feel good, okay? So that really makes a difference with understanding that if you're having new beginnings in this area, it's stimulating the area of the 2nd house. So with its stimulating an area that is ruled by Taurus that craves stimulation, it might also be the opposite new beginning of what you want, because now you're starting to have a new beginning of spending, or you know, not having so much financial control, which is exactly what we want, right? We want to make sure that we're not overspending. So that would be Cancers, okay? And especially keep in mind as well, it's really important to understand that too, because Cancers are beautiful beings that like to, they're emotional creatures, okay? So you have to keep that in mind, that they might have an emotional time period where their natural response is suspend, and that's not positive. So you have to be careful with that, all right? All right, so then we have, so we're at the end, which is Cancer. So now I'm going to exit this, come back on, and I'm going to do Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. All right, if you guys have any questions and want to discuss what I just said, please email me or direct message me, since this is Facebook, but when I repost this on YouTube, email me at sukiheals@yahoo.com if you want to confirm your birth chart and make sure that you're exactly meeting it at 18 degrees and 42 minutes of Leo. And that's so important to understand, because some people might have it a little bit off on their charts. You know, like I am an Aquarius rising, but I follow the Pisces chart more so than anything, because although I, in this particular one, my Aquarius is correct, I do have it in my 7th house. At the same time, it would be different. Like last month's eclipse on July 27th, Aquarius was supposed to be in the 1st house? Yeah, the 1st house. And mine ended up being in the 12th house, because in that case, I resonated with the Pisces map a little bit more. Okay, so it's really important to make sure that 18 degrees and 42 minutes of Leo is in the house of what I just told you guys. It might be in a different house, and then you would follow whatever that house is. Okay. All right, guys, I will see you in a second for Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. All right.